Big energy shift this week. Looking forward to showing you this profile. We have the Great Retreat this week because of the solstice and the last quarter moon. But at the beginning of the week, we're dealing with that Grand Fire Trine. So this is from December 19th to December 25th. It's a much needed break. So as we look at the tiny little triangulation overlap, in my opinion, looking at the collective unconscious, the I-Ching reading, and the tropical astrology, putting all that together, my take on that is not only are we needing a break, but it's almost going to be like I don't want to say forced, I don't, but yeah, there's going to be a big drawdown, at least energetically. All right. Astrologically, Sun goes into Capricorn, aka winter solstice is upon us, and within a day of that last quarter moon, we have Venus trine Jupiter, we have Jupiter square Saturn, and we have the end of that Grand Fire Trine happening right at about the Sun going into Capricorn. The collective unconscious that I call DreamBot 2.0, meaning that this bot goes out on the web looking for dream material around the world, pulls that back so we get to know what the main themes of what people are dreaming about. And hence, I'm calling that also the barometer for the collective unconscious. We are still co-creating, and I think that's a match to the Grand Fire Trine. And, full moon energy and what we have been dealing with this go energy. I think that's still remnant in the DreamBot. Plus time is coming back, just time references. And so the way I see Sun going into Capricorn is very time related. It happens every year. Last quarter moon happens every 30 days approximately. So there's a lot of time references just right there, cyclical things. And then the I-Ching confirms it all by saying retreat. Now, there are a couple different forms of this word retreat. I'm thinking more in terms of the noun form. So like taking a nice break. All right. That's the intro. By the way, if you were wondering about this circle, DreamBot 2.0, it doesn't look like there's anything in here. Well, I already mentioned, I just didn't want to put all the symbols down here, but it correlates with quite a bit in the astrology, but a low congruency score, lower than what we're used to. All right, here we go. Our shout out is a tie for the Best Comment Award. Stonewaller again this week. Thanks for the shout out, and in turn gets another award, and tied with Jeffrey Jan. It says, "Happy holidays, Chris." Well, happy holidays to Jeffrey and all the surfers. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you for so many comments this week. There was a birthday in there, so I really appreciate everybody's comments, and I actually going to read one towards the end of our video. So stick around. Here's the DreamBot. Number one word is really, and that's really important because it's there's like in the co-creating a very intense, but also convinced, committed, those kinds of words, and so it's very active and very committed. So that's the active co-creating in the red. And in the blue arrows, we have just time. Pretty basic, pretty simple, but important, poignant, in my opinion. All right, we're about in the middle of this eclipse cycle, smack dab in the middle with some important things happening in our new moon and full moons, but we're in the next CIRF report. Not only is it going to be the new year, but we will also have the second new moon of December. That's fairly rare to have two new moons. We had the Sagittarius on December 1st, and then we'll have December 30th. But this week, this shaded area here during our current CIRF week is the last quarter moon. So we're in between full moon and new moon. This is the end of the current energy window, and unfortunately, I've been just literally so busy, I haven't been able to create a new energy window. So I really do hope to get back into that. I love the concept. What do you all think about the energy windows? Are they helpful for you personally? Is it worth the extra effort if I can find the time? All right, not much to see in this chart. This is just our overview of December. It is winding down. Sun goes into Capricorn. So let's move on. I think this one is the most important graph, important chart for our CIRF report, all for the whole report. Okay, so you have the Grand Fire Trine, the co-creating line. That's waning out right at the time that the winter solstice is coming up. So this is like the Great Drawdown or the Great Retreat or the 3 days of darkness once the winter solstice happens. Synergistically, the moon is right in that same phase. So we have a last quarter moon. It's the big drawdown. Then, a lot of people take time off Christmas. And even if you don't celebrate Christmas, there's very common to take that holiday and don't go to work, i.e. retreat. All right, Thursday, the 19th. So we're thinking in terms of the first couple of days is probably the most energy you're going to have in this entire week. One of those is happening with Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, trine over to Venus. And this represents an energetic dynamic between innovative, that's Aquarius, innovative values and finances, expansive communication, Jupiter in Gemini, and reevaluation of beliefs and much more. Highlights the potential for progressive social connections, intellectual growth, and philosophical reframing. So looking at your old philosophies and seeing how they were working. And with Venus and Jupiter together in an easy energetic exchange like this, there's going to be some effect on the finances. Archetypes for this could be like the cosmic networker, the social butterfly. I also like the avant-garde, especially in like an entrepreneur, since you have the two finance planets, Venus and Jupiter. But avant-garde is the Aquarian that needs to be different. You might also have the value creator, the wisdom seeker, the philosophical explorer. There's a lot here, and I think it's going to be pretty positive. Now, of course, that's not the only thing happening. We have the T-square. I'm going to talk on Friday the 20th about the last part of the remaining Grand Fire Trine. And it's not really represented here because I don't have lines on the North Node, but this is happening. This is shutting down soon because Mercury, who is now direct in Sagittarius, is transgressing too far to be out of orb with the North Node. But remember, this is like the hero thing, but it's very yang. That's a lot of fire. And there was a time when all these planets were in retrograde together. That was kind of like a fire of return into the life purpose, into the future. There's also kind of a hero archetype in this. So that is all dying down. And it dies down like the last day is Friday the 20th. And then this is when the shear is going from go, lots of yang down to retreat, yin, total yin, not total yin, but very much yin. And we got a double cross here, which is really pretty interesting because where are we? Well, the most important thing here that I want you to see, there's a lot here, but it's the sun goes into Capricorn, also known as the winter solstice, and it happens at 3:20 a.m. on Saturday, the 21st of December. Happens every year. and signifies a time of introspection. It's Capricorn, so very disciplined, tuning into or getting very serious about your ambitions. Leadership is also in there, responsibility. This alignment encourages a focus of long-term goals, personal responsibility, and cultivation of wisdom through experience. It also marks a turning point where darkness begins to recede. Well, this is when it is at its lowest point. And it's said to die on the cross, because there's the first cross. The sun hangs out the furthest point in the southern hemisphere, where the only time of year where the sun hits this cross, the southern cross. It's a constellation, the fixed stars. And this is the lowest point at least from the point of the northern hemisphere. So it's said to die on the cross, to get crucified. That's the metaphor. And you'll have 3 days of darkness, i.e., the days will be the shortest until December 25th, just said to be reborn. All right. Now, that's only one of the crosses, because this year we happen to have a grand cross. This is an astrological phenomenon, and it's a juxtaposition. It's the great inner conflict that's really going to synergize and pressurize this internal retreating, if you will. And it's from the moon. It aligns from the moon, and the signature includes 2 oppositions. Now, of course, our chart here obviously shows 3 oppositions, but the main 2 are the ones with Moon, Saturn, Jupiter retrograde, and Mercury. So there's a lot of thoughts in here. This is going to really pressurize thoughts and introspection. And with Saturn here brings in a lot of discipline in. And we're going to be talking about this alignment, Saturn square Jupiter, a little bit later when it goes exact. But this is a very mentally disciplined place. And with the sun going into Capricorn and really focusing in on what needs to be done and being responsible, it's going to really kind of push people away. Not aggressively, but it's going to want to be alone so that it can contemplate. And in doing so, you're going to get a lot of mental inspiration, a mental pressure to assimilate discipline and steadfast, and how to get better and improve. So quite a bit here, and the cross is very important on the 21st. Then within a day at 4:17 p.m. on the 22nd of December, we're looking at the last quarter moon, and the last quarter moon is over the south node. So this signifies a profound release of the past, the outdated patterns, especially in relationships, Libra. It's going to be highly emotional around justice, peace, balance, etc. Wants to get to balance. And so therefore, very much a yin, but also a balancing kind of energy. Challenges individuals to find balance between their own needs and the needs of others, while letting go of codependent tendencies and karmic ties that no longer serve the highest good. We might see this archetype as the karmic cord cutter, the liberator, the scales, especially maybe like a scales of self-worth, the inner judge, the impartial observer, hopefully, can accidentally get lost in the past when we have emotions here at the last quarter moon. So it's a big drawdown energetically with the moon phase. Then on Monday, we hit this new kind of retreat energy. It's part of the 3 days of darkness, metaphorically, with the sun at its lowest point in the southern hemisphere for 3 days. we have a grand air trine, Moon, Jupiter, Venus. And when we have this, it promotes intellectual stimulation. So we've already kind of like secluded ourselves, possibly hermit mode, Capricorn hermit mode. And so mental, not necessarily overload, but creative. This is easy energy on the mental side, the air side, with the grand air trine. And so it enhances mental agility, adaptability, ability to see multiple perspectives. You're going to get lots of insights here. That's the whole point. And especially if you are retreating. We'll get to the behaviors a little bit later. On Tuesday, the 24th, as promised, we're going to talk about the T-square, but mainly the Saturn square Jupiter goes exact. It's at 14 degrees, 1 minute, respectively. Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces. And so this represents a profound tension between the desire for expansion, and Saturn is sort of the opposite, sometimes constrictive, but in this case more about boundaries and structure, discipline. It's a time for reevaluating one's beliefs and philosophies and spiritual path, while also taking the responsibility for the tangible outcomes of one's actions. The archetype here could be like a visionary realist, the pragmatic dreamer, the seeker of sacred structure, or the spiritual architect. And then we have a Merry Christmas. There's a lot happening. To summarize, I'm going to prioritize in order of the energetic influences on Wednesday, Christmas Day, 25th, 2024. First of all, Sun in Capricorn, obviously. And number 2, the Moon is in a T-square in Scorpio in a waning crescent phase. It's post last quarter moon. And then number 3 is Mercury, and it's specifically the tightest one, Mercury square to Saturn. And then we also have all this Jupiter energy all week long, culminating towards the end of the week. And so the next highest is the Jupiter oppose Mercury, very, very mentally pressurized, okay, but assimilating and profoundly important for mental acuity, agility, assimilation. And then Jupiter and Saturn that we talked about before. So combining all these complex alignments represents a profound period of transformation, intense self-reflection, especially if you have retreated, and the confrontation of deep-seated fears and desires. The Sun in Capricorn provides a grounding force of discipline and pragmatism, and the waning crescent moon in Scorpio amplifies the need for emotional purging and the release of outdated patterns. We saw that when Venus was over the South Node. The various planetary aspects highlight the tension between expansion and contraction, faith and fear, and the need for radical honesty and authenticity in navigating life's challenges. So this retreat's very important for assimilating or getting to a baseline from the past, creating a new set of goals, and then turning around, pivoting, getting ready for the future. Merry Christmas, CIRF family. All right, here's the I-Ching 33. There it is, the retreat. It's a direct match to the winter solstice combined with the last quarter moon. Very synergistic with the top 2 energies from astrology, sun and moon. General feeling of hexagram 33 is cautiousness, need to retreat, not out of fear, but strategic withdrawal. This is the need to retreat. reflection, a period of introspection, understanding the dynamics at play. That's a perfect match to all the astrology we just read. But we have line 2 changing, which says, he holds him fast with yellow oxhide. No one can tear him loose. The interpretation of that is suggested to be this line, a situation where retreat might not be possible or advisable. There could be an obligation or a bond that holds you back. Christmas is sort of that. There's a lot of you that will be obligated or feel obligated to not retreat and to give, buy, shop, presents, maybe decorate if you haven't done that yet. So feelings of stuck, frustrated, resilient is in line 2, but line 5 is a gracious retreat. Everything soothes his mind. The interpretation indicates a wise and timely retreat where pulling back is done with grace and good timing, leading to peace of mind. That's really what we're doing with our retreat. We're not escaping anything. We're not living in fear. We're just honoring the astrological cycles and going into our retreat mode of the mind to get some peace of mind. The feelings of line 5 are relief, satisfaction, and peace. All right, let's button up our solution. Our influence. And I've got like a little cabin here in the mountains, just indicating like a kind of retreat. Everybody ready for the great retreat. The energetic slowdown begins with the winter solstice when the sun figuratively dies on the cross into 3 days of darkness before it is reborn. All these phases happen this CIRF week. One day after the winter solstice, we get the last quarter moon, which is synchronistically similar in slowing us down into a more yin profile. As the world slows down during this period, there are alignments that offer mental and philosophical ponderings and assimilation. Wishing you all a relaxing and rejuvenating retreat this week, if your situation allows you to. Ready for the solution? Put the change lines in. You get 50. The cauldron symbolizes nourishment and rejuvenation. What perfect I-Ching hexagram to go with retreat, isn't it? My opinion only. These are some behaviors that we might consider: managing resources with disciplined care, creating stability through consistent ritual, accepting responsibility, balanced distribution of energy and resources, i.e. getting to a balance point, careful attention to proper measure and proportion. The sacred and mundane in your daily tasks. This is appropriate for waning crescent moon phase. You're not doing a lot. If anything, it's more of a relaxing space. If anything, you just be doing the mundane tasks, the tasks that really just need to keep going, but it's not a lot of yang expenditure. Here's our conversion chart. This is the winter solstice at 0 degrees Capricorn, puts us in Rave 10 and Sidereal Sagittarius. The Rave 10 is treading. Kind of sounds like almost a form of retreat. And line 2, we get the Hermit. So there it is. The Rave agrees. The successful sidestepping of behavioral requirements through isolation. Mercury exalted, where mental functions enrich aloneness. So for the mind needs to be alone. And to get the most for the mind and the mental magic that's happening this week, the mental opportunities for you, piecing together the past, piecing together things that make sense for creative ventures into the future. That's all possible this week based on the astrology. and the rave confirms it. Independent behavior through isolation. All right, so let's get to our solution. Here it is. Remember, we had I-Ching 50, the cauldron. We had the hermit. This is a hermit crab in the rave, enriching isolation. We have Sagittarius. That'll be an interesting overlap here. And we have the last quarter moon. We're calling this the personal reset week. It's all about behaviorally assessing your current state and moving towards balance, whatever that is. Advised mainly, this was getting to balance was from I-Ching 50, the cauldron. And looking at the past weeks, if you've been following the great vigor, the Yang Grand Fire Trine, for example, of the recent weeks, it makes sense that self-isolation is the quickest route to an overall balanced state. The hermit mode of the rave is also a great place for resetting your mental status, especially so that Sidereal Sagittarius can invoke the higher mind, where it can contemplate existential philosophies, visit spiritual realms, and access higher wisdom. The last quarter moon is right in line with all of this, encouraging us to slow down, close out your lunar goals. The lunar month is drawing to a close, and so yin behaviors are also normally suggested. In other words, it all agrees. So consider if it's right for your individual balance, that's the key, then go do the alone thing, go do the retreat. Don't feel bad about it. You're not escaping anything. You're putting yourself in a place that can invoke the Sagittarius and the Jupiter higher wisdom, the higher realms, the existential philosophies, the higher mind. Okay? Whew. That's a lot, but it's really fairly simple if you look at it. All right, ready? Oh, one more thing. And this is a comment that I just noticed that Sean put up on our previous video. So all of you that really liked the plant, the weekly plant idea that Sean had and provided for us, she's talking about it here. Hi, everyone. Plant Lady Sean here. I just wanted to thank my comrade surfers for witnessing my process, and I hope all of you resonated with at least some part of the journey. I would also like to thank Chris for the opportunity and the platform. I took my own advice, metaphorically burned it all down, and when the smoke clears, I will have completely transformed. I love the plants, and they are one of the things I am bringing forward. Hopefully the channel will open back up and I can craft again for y'all. Until then, steady as she goes, and one day at a time, pray for the highest good and surrender. So much love for all of you. See you on the flip side. Thank you for that update, Sean. I can probably speak for all of us that we hope you are transforming effortlessly and rejuvenating and healing properly if that's warranted. So thanks for the update, and we look forward to your transformation. All right, everybody. There you go. Enjoy your retreat. Enjoy your Merry Christmas. And then next surf week, we'll get into another new moon and a new year. 2025, right around the corner. Crazy. All right, that's it. We'll see you next week, everybody. Cheers.